You should see something that's saying it's being live streamed.
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm just going to look over here for a second. Once that finishes the progress bar there. Redirecting, awesome. Okay, beautiful. Um, I'm just checking here. Forgive me for
You're all good.
doing a little thing here. Refreshing this, looking at that. Live, public, beautiful. Okay, that's what I want to see. All right. So we're here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Everyday Love. I am thrilled to have as my guest today JP Sudduth, one of the talented folks on allears.net. That is how myself and my wife, my family first knew you and got to know you. But also someone with some amazing fun content of her own, actress, writer, singer, which is the reason that I was excited to have you on today. So just as a brief background, as I said, I first saw you in the Everything series on All Ears, which is the first way I saw any of these folks on there.
Oh, okay.
That was our sort of intro to the channel. Like we came on, my wife and I came on, like in the episode 60s or 70s of it, which
Okay.
confused
Yeah.
us a bit because we didn't know who Emma was, and there was a whole thing about Emma's gone.
Yep.
We didn't understand. But
Yeah.
anyway, we understand now. And so you were very interesting to us because you popped up as someone who was a bit different from some of your other folks on there in terms of just your preferences and the things you were interested in, and you were the picky eater, is how we got to know you on
Yeah.
that. Um, and so, but the reason I asked you to come on today is I've been following you on Instagram for a bit, and I want to say a few months ago now, maybe you posted a video of you singing a song from Dear Evan Hansen.
Hmm.
And you had in the caption, went into this thing about how even though you were a performer and have been for a number of years, singing was always a fear of yours. And this was your sort of confronting that and embracing that. And first, let me just say, you killed it. It was really,
Thank you.
it was really great. And the songs you've performed since then on Instagram have also been really wonderful.
Thank you.
Um, you're welcome. And I was just wondering how did you come to performing, and did how did singing sort of come on after?
Yeah, so my drama club in elementary school didn't start until I was in about the fourth grade. And when we started, they had a straight acting show and a musical. And I was like, well, I'm not doing the musical. It's not happening. I'm not a singer. That's not what I do. Like I had done a bit of like, everyone has choir class, and I actually vividly remember this is probably back where it like really started. I think it was second or third grade. We all had been learning this song in chorus, and everyone stood up and sang a certain like verse of it. Like everyone did. Like we just kind of went down. And I remember standing up to sing mine and hearing like someone snicker or like laugh or something behind me, or that's
Mm.
what I thought. That's what I thought I heard, right? And so that like embedded itself into my head already. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, like I, no. But I really wanted to do the straight show. So we did like a version of Cinderella. And so did that, went into fifth grade, same thing. I stuck with the straight show. And we did James and the Giant Peach
Mm.
and absolutely loved that. I played Centipede, which was crazy because there was no junior version of the show. We did the entire
Oh,
like hour and a half, 2 hour show as like fourth and fifth graders.
wow.
And so really loved that. Totally enjoyed theater, which was a surprise to my family because I was an extremely shy child. I would not like I had such a hard time like speaking to others, and then suddenly kind of just like a switch kind of flipped, and I seemed to really enjoy that. So got into film more in middle school because at the time sixth graders weren't allowed in the school play, which was really annoying. And I was like, well,
Huh.
I really love acting now. Like, what am I going to do? So I went to film acting, enjoyed that. And then while I was in one of those film acting classes, there was one day that our teacher was out and we had been combined with the musical theater class for that day. And so that teacher wasn't like forcing us to like start singing, but one way or another, I ended up singing a little bit of something at some point, and they were getting ready to do this small kind of end of the year show that they were doing. And she had written on the bottom of the information sheet for my mom, like, hey, I think she should really look into singing. Like she has a voice. And I went, "Psh, no, absolutely not. It's not happening." And so I was a part of that little show, but more as like from an acting side, I was like, sure, I'll sing because I have to, but like, um, and then in high school, I got more, we did more musicals. We didn't really do straight shows as much. So it was kind of like have to do musicals. And I was really enjoying it. There was just kind of, it always seemed to be secondary. Like acting has always kind of come first, and then singing below it, and then dance below that. And so, the big thing was I was enjoying it a lot. And then in sophomore year, I was with some friends at the time, and I can't remember if I was humming under my breath or singing under my breath or whatever it was, but my friend who I was with snapped at me and was like, "Will you shut up? You can't even sing." And
Oh,
I like literally, we were on a live stream. There were people
oh,
watching us on a live stream, and I was like mortified. Like I have never, and so it didn't hit right then. It like over the next, because I took voice lessons for 3 years in high school. And but just over the course of that, I was like, like I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. Like I'm just plateauing. Like it's fine. I'm going to school for screenwriting anyway, and I'll just forget about theater because it's just clearly not my thing.
mm,
Moved back here after college, realized how much I missed it, and kind of have fallen back into it. But I've been so prone to getting back into that mindset of just being like, no, like there's just been so many of those little things that have embedded themselves into my head. And all from people who does not matter at all. Their opinions do not matter at all to me. And yet, like the people's who matters the most, my family was always like, we want you to sing at home. We want to hear you practice. We want to hear you sing. And never. I was like, nope, I would only practice, only sing at home when no one else was home. Um, and so yeah, so I part of that has kind of been like I'm tired of being afraid of that. I'm tired of letting that side win when I it is something I love and it is something that I enjoy, but just like every other muscle of your body, it takes time to develop a muscle. So thankfully I have something that I've started with, and my voice seems to follow a decent pattern, and like it can match pitch and stuff already, but I would forget that, hey, when you stop singing for a while, then you're not using that muscle anymore. So you're not going to be able to do the things that you did when you were practicing or you were in a show constantly because you're not singing. So it's kind of a way for me to keep up that skill set, even if I don't have an audition coming up or a show coming up or something of that nature, and to keep up with the love for it because I do love it, and I'm just tired of letting the fear of it win.
yeah, yeah. Why, why did you choose the song? So, can you tell us the song you first picked? It was Requiem from Dear Evan Hansen.
Yes.
Why that song?
So I got to see Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway with my mom, and the show definitely hit me in a very special way because it reminded me of someone very close to me in my life who has struggled a lot with mental health, and just really very much reminded the character of Connor in that show actually very much reminds me of that person in my life. And thinking about, oh my gosh, if this real person in my life had gone down, had that happen, I could have lost them just like they lost Connor. And so the music in it has always been very impactful, especially that song where she's singing, about her brother, right? She's singing about Connor. And so that song has always been very special to me. And it was kind of just the first one, not to say that popped into my head, but it was one that had kind of been on my radar. Like it's always been one kind of on my short list of songs that I really enjoy singing or challenging myself to sing. And yeah, so that was kind of the thought process behind that one. And then funny enough, I ended up auditioning for a production of Dear Evan Hansen, a professional production, a few weeks later,
Oh, wow.
which was crazy because that had not been on my radar at all. So I was like, wow, look at that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the songs you picked since then are sort of an interesting bunch.
Yes.
Um, uh, there was one from Mean Girls, the musical, something from Annie, which I was particularly surprised at and very appreciative of. I really do enjoy that. Um, and then I forget. Oh, Hadestown. I think I'm missing
Yes.
one. So can we talk about Hadestown, the pro shot? Oh
Yes.
my
Oh
God.
my gosh. I've seen it twice.
Yeah, we were gonna see it twice. Our daughter, um, she's nonverbal and she
hmm
requires physical assistance with everything, most things she does. But she has full cognition. She's 12 years old, and she's a big musical theater. We've groomed her into being a big musical theater nut. And so Hadestown came on when none of us knew it, really.
Hmm.
We'd heard of it, but it came on our radar a few months ago, and it's nonstop now. And so
Yep.
to see it, she's in a wheelchair, and when she's really excited about it, we say that music is one of her superpowers.
Hmm.
Reading is the other superpower of hers. Um, and so you guys would get along great, it feels like.
Yes, I
Those
would
two
say
things.
so.
Um, and so when she's excited, she dances and a lot. And so we were in the movie theater, and she's, I could see the wheelchair out of the corner of my eye just moving because of how much she was dancing, during this thing. And to
I
see
love
it,
that.
yeah, to see it done on stage like that, and it was just really incredible. Um,
I could not agree more.
yeah,
It is an absolutely beautifully shot production. I mean, it is the cinematography is phenomenal. I could not get over that, and I
yeah,
still will never get over that. I just went to go see it. I saw it the first time with my friend, and then the second time I went to go see it with my mom.
yeah,
And so she asked me to. She was like, "Is this still playing on Broadway?" I said, "Yes, yes, it is."
yeah. It's actually
So,
coming. We're in southern New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston, and it's coming to Boston in November. Um,
ah,
so we're probably going to have to go and do that.
I would say
um,
I think that would be worth it.
yeah, it will be weird to see someone else. We had this thing with Hamilton. We're like, it's going to be weird. We saw that in Boston as well. We're like, it's going to
Hmm.
be weird to see people in the cast who are not the people that we know and love. Now that we've seen it, like a pro shot of it, and 2 minutes into watching Hamilton live, didn't matter. These people,
Jep, just right
these
off.
people were the best. These people were the
Yes.
best. So it'll be the same, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And there's nothing like live theater. The feeling of live
Yeah,
theater, no matter like who it is, if you're familiar with them on stage or not, is just like nothing else.
yeah. So I mean, you're an actor as well,
Hmm.
and you're, at least from your Instagram, you're pretty consistently doing shows locally there
Yeah.
in Georgia, where you are.
Hmm.
Yeah. Are you singing in those shows?
It depends. So the one I just finished up, which was called Nerdy Prudes Must Die, which is fun. It's a Star Kid show, and they're a theater company who I have loved for many, many, many years. So I was so excited. There was a theater group around me that was doing one of their shows because they're very niche and not many people do. So I was thrilled. So I was singing in that show. And then the theater that that's very close to me, or that I'm close-ish to, is called the Eagle Theater, and they do primarily plays. They do 3 plays and 1 musical in the year, which I also love because a lot of the theaters around my area are the opposite. They do mostly musicals
Right.
and
Yeah.
maybe a play if we're lucky. And I am a big thing. There are so many great plays out there that I often feel like they don't get the recognition that they deserve. And so I'm very glad to have somewhere close-ish to me that kind of flips that on its head. But it depends. Um, the next one that's on my roster is actually directing. I'll be directing Miracle on 34th Street,
Oh,
which is lots of fun. And
wow.
then the next show to audition for after that will be a play, but then the one after that would be a musical. So
Okay.
kind of like a good mix.
Is it it's not your directorial debut, is it?
For theater, it will be.
For theater will be. Okay.
I assistant directed Pride and Prejudice earlier this year, which was a
Okay.
fantastic experience. And I started filmmaking in high school when I was about a sophomore. So I have a lot of directorial experience for film under my belt. But this will be the first time for theater.
Well, that's awesome. How are you feeling about it?
Good. I'm nervous because it's Miracle on 34th Street, and it's beloved, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a very popular show that people adore for very specific reasons. So I'm a little nervous that I'm going to mess it up. I really don't want to mess it up, but I am very excited to be a part of bringing the show
Yeah.
to life. I've gotten to look at our set design, and I'm loving that, and I'm very excited. We have auditions at the very beginning of September, which is going to be exciting. My good friend Zoe is my assistant director, which we're really excited about. So it'll be a good time. I'll be just like how I do a lot of things with writing, with acting, with an audition, anything. I always sit there and I go, I don't know what I'm doing. Do I know what I'm doing? I have no clue. And then I blink, and all of a sudden I'm going, oh, okay. Well, now it's happening. So I guess we're okay.
Yeah. This show that you're on right now was that for me. I'm like, I'm just going to start a weekly show. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. And
Well, and then I
here we
realized
are.
no one knows what they're doing. And
No,
that's what like
no,
a lot of people don't want to say, but no one ever knows what they're doing, even if it seems like they do.
yeah,
And I know that's how it is for me. Even if I seem I know what I'm doing, I don't. I have no clue.
yeah. Um, talking about Miracle on 34th Street, the casting of that's got to be interesting, and I'm curious. I'd be curious to check in with you after you've done that because
Yeah.
casting Chris Kringle is got to be such an interesting because you need someone who can be convincing without being over the top
Yep.
that we don't believe that we're sort of like okay whatever like it's
Exactly.
got to be a way that's like he's convincing the characters but he's also convincing you and the audience.
You.
Oh, he is so magical, isn't he? Like
Exactly.
that's got to be I have you thought about that? That's got to be a challenge.
For me, what I've thought about, and this is how I go in for casting anything, is for the most part, especially for theater, wigs, hair, and makeup can do so much. I don't care what the actor looks like
Mm,
normally. If you can bring that character to life in the actual form of the internal character itself, that's what I care about. So I had seen somewhere for they were someone on the team was talking about like, oh yeah, I'd love for the actor who plays Chris Kringle to be able to grow his own beard. And I was like,
mm,
yeah, that'd be great. But if we don't have someone who fits the actual character who can do that, then I'm not choosing them. I'm
yeah.
choosing who can actually fit the character based on who we have. So I'm definitely I'm very excited. We've got a really great talent pool who often comes out to auditions, and then the show they're working on right now, there's a ton of new faces as well, which I love. And so I'm crossing fingers we'll get a good turnout because that's my number one fear is not is I would love to is having a show where you have someone come in and there's not someone who you can go, yes, I could see this person as this character and going, what do I do now? So it'll be interesting, but I'm crossing fingers that it'll all work out exactly how it's supposed to.
I'm sure it will. I'm excited to find out. Um, so you also have worked in film a bit,
Mhm.
and that's another passion of yours. Where did that come from? Your love of film, your love of movies, all that.
Yeah, so screenwriting is for film. Acting and screenwriting are kind of equal to each other. And what happened so when I was in high school, as I said, in middle school, I had to transition over to film classes when I couldn't do theater that one year, and found that I really liked that medium as well. They're very different mediums, but I enjoyed both. And then in high school, though, I was dealing with Lyme disease, and we didn't know that's what it was at the time. I didn't get diagnosed until sophomore year. But I started dealing with pretty intense health issues in my freshman year, and it made doing theater a little bit more complicated than I would like it to be. The sort of physicality aspect of it. I had all of this intense pain in my shoulders and in others of my joints, and sometimes my joints would they did or my ligaments didn't want to stay in place, and so it was like, well, that's not good for a dance number if I'm like, hey, my knee might be popping out of place, give me a second. So I was looking to like, what can I create? How can I keep up this creativity? And at the same time, when I was younger, I always looked older. So even when I was
Hmm.
14, I always looked 16. And that was really frustrating because I'd go out to audition specifically for film and they'd be like, hey, we're looking for a 13 to 14-year-old. And I'd go, that's me. Hello. And they're like, you don't look it. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I am.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I wasn't getting opportunities to showcase what I could really do, both in theater and in film because of everything going on. And so I finally said, you know what? I'm just going to make something myself. I'm just going to write it. I'm going to write something and I'm going to make it and I'm going to put myself in it. And because if no one else is going to give me the opportunity, then I'm going to make it myself. And so I sat down that like the Thanksgiving of my freshman year of high school and I wrote like a short feature length film. It's like ended up being like an hour and 10 minutes or so when we filmed it.
Hmm.
And that summer cast it, put together a cast, filmed it, edited it, and then we had a premiere for it. And I ended up really enjoying that and kind of the reason I even continued with doing as well like the editing and the directing and stuff too is because I loved the writing aspect and I wanted to see it on screen, but I realized no one else was going to do it if I didn't do it because I was 16 years old and they weren't going to be like, yes, hello, we'll come work on this 16-year-old set who isn't able to pay us. Yeah, sure. So I was like, I have to do. Plus, I'm a control freak, and so I was like, I don't think anyone else is going to do it right, so I have to do it. And so I ended up creating many short films, 2 seasons of an entire web series, so 16 episodes total. Another sort of low feature length, kind of long short feature length. I did a 48-hour film festival. All before I went off to college, which was for screenwriting, because after doing all that, I knew that I only wanted to go to school for screenwriting. I didn't want to go for directing or for cinematography, I was like, no, I already know that those things are not what I want to do. I've been doing them for basically 4 years at this point. I just want to do screenwriting. So that's
Right.
kind of where that came in. And screenwriting is still absolutely a passion of mine. But if you had told me 5 years ago when I graduated that I wouldn't be pursuing only that and that all the time, I would think you're crazy. Because I went out of school and was like, "Yep, this is it. This is all it is. This is all I want to do." And now which I get to write every day for a living. It's not screenwriting, but I get to write every day, which is pretty awesome. So it's still, and I have like 5 scripts on the market right now, for TV pilots and feature films that are just, available. I submit them when something pops up that it works with. I've got a producer who's kind of interested in some, and if we can get money tied to it, then it might happen, but that's always the name of the game. Someone once told me that screenwriting is a marathon, not a sprint, and that is so very true. So I'm just kind of, I have it, I'm holding on to it. I write when I have something to write. I don't really force myself to write if there isn't an idea there. But if I have one, then I'll go for it.
Yeah. Before we started, I was asking about the shelving behind you, and
Yes.
the one on my right, your left, maybe, I'm not sure, is what is that one there?
So this is my want to adapt shelf.
Okay.
These are some books that I have read and that I enjoyed so much that I would love to see an adaptation, particularly would love to be a part of an adaptation for them
Mm.
someday. So some of them, like The Darkest Minds right here, does actually have a film adaptation. I love the film adaptation, but to me, I think it should have been a TV series. So it stays on the shelf. We've also got this one here. It's called Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. It's actually a collection of short stories that I think would be a fantastic horror anthology series.
Mm.
One of them in particular is a story that always sticks in my mind, and I was like, I need a short film of that right now. We've got Kingdom Keepers on there because Kingdom Keepers 100% needs to be a series. I can't believe Disney hasn't done it yet, but you know what? Maybe they're just waiting for the right time. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I keep ones that um, I think would make really good adaptations and that I would love to have a hand in if possible.
Is there something you're working on, you're in the middle of writing right now?
Yes, I am currently working on a book, and I have been saying that and been in the works with it for about 2 years, and that
I
kills
know
me
the
to
feeling.
say because I'm someone who usually finishes a project relatively quickly. But this year has completely thrown me for a loop, and everything that I thought was going to happen this year got derailed. And so I said, well, okay, so I was gonna hopefully finish it. I still would love to finish it this year. But I'm trying to give myself grace that if I don't finish it this year with everything going on, by like middle of next year is like absolute last deadline. But I'm really enjoying that. I'm about 16 chapters into it. So I'm definitely a decent amount in, and I am really passionate about the story. I thought it was going to be a script at first, and then I sat down and I went, no, it doesn't work as a feature script. Okay, it's a TV pilot. And then went, no, it doesn't work as that either. Dang it, it's a book, isn't it? And I was like, no, because I wrote 2 books when I was in high school just to kind of see how it was, and I self-published them. And after that I went, okay, never again. I'm sticking to screenwriting. And lo and behold, here we are, back with another book. So,
You never know which way the universe is going to nudge you with that
and
stuff.
I have learned that so much this year.
Yeah, yeah. Before we run out of time, I want to touch on the thing that we go back to the beginning of the thing that we knew you for first, which is allears.net, and which is theme parks.
Yes.
Your passion for and your work, your daily work in your day job, which is in the theme park space, and your
Yes.
occasionally on camera stuff that you do. You did a video from Universal. You had a day in Universal, and you talked about that you would stop by the guest services to renew your essentially a pass for folks with disabilities. And I want to get the acronym right here for what it is. Pardon me. IBCCES.
Yes.
Um, would you mind? So we have some experience with this as well in our family, not through Universal, but through Disney, through their DAS program, Disability Access Services. Would you mind telling us what it is that you, why you get that pass, and your different experiences with Universal and Disney? Because I know it is different.
Yeah, absolutely. So I found out when I was 19, I went through all the diagnostic testing and I am autistic, which I went through basically 19 years of my life having no idea, but everything clicked into place and I went, oh, that makes so much sense. And in fact, when I did my screening, I actually kind of landed on the moderate to severe scale, which is very interesting because I slipped through the radar for so many years, but a lot of women do. And so that opened up a whole world of possibilities of not realizing certain accommodations were available to me. And I'd also never really previously allowed myself to admit that they would be helpful to me because I'm always the type of person to be like, no, well, someone else needs it more than me. So they need to have it instead of me. And I realized, hey, you're allowed to say, no, that would be very helpful for me to have. And so my I started using the DAS program in Disney, which was world made a world of a difference. I particularly struggle with being in crowded spaces if I'm not moving. So if I'm like stuck one place in a crowded space, or like a line that's very slow moving, people close in front of me and close behind me. If I'm by myself, if I'm with someone else, and I could kind of ask them like, "Hey, the group behind us getting a little close. Could we switch places so that I could kind of have a bit of a buffer?" But if I'm on my own, it's pretty difficult for me once I get past like the 25-minute mark. And then for loud noises, I'm really bad with noises. I carry my loop earplugs everywhere. My coworkers can tell you I have them in the parks with me all the time. I put them in if we're there for fireworks, if we're there, even some of the, Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair show. Nope, if there's fireworks, they're going in. And yeah, so that was a fantastic service. And then for Universal, they have their attraction assistance pass, which is AAP, and you have to, in order to qualify, you qualify through IBCCES, which is not Universal specific. It is actually, most theme parks use it. Disney's actually the only theme park that doesn't. Or the only prominent theme park that doesn't use it. But Dollywood does, Universal parks do, Six Flags parks do. And you basically send in, something from your medical professional saying, "Hi, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I have, and I qualify for this service." And they come back and they say, "Yes, we've read your letter. We see you qualify for it. Great, you have it for a whole year." So now that Universal has gone digital with their pass, my pass is available I no longer have to renew it every 2 weeks. It is renewed for the entire year, which previously even renewing it every 2 weeks was not a problem at all. I just go up to guest services, would show them the IBCCES card. They'd put it in the system. I'd get the card, no problem, good to go. And that would be the same thing if I went to Dollywood or Six Flags Park. It would be the same thing. I would just show them IBCCES. Unfortunately, I do not qualify for DAS under Disney anymore. I'm not totally sure why, considering it does say autism and similar, and I am autism. But it is what it is. And so I've had to learn kind of how to navigate the parks, specifically if I'm on my own, a little bit differently. I can't do as many of the rides anymore if there are higher wait times. Even if I have headphones with me or a book with me or something to distract me, I just start to get with people so close. I just start to, it's not good for anyone involved. So I usually, if I can be with someone in the parks, that's great because that kind of opens up a world of possibilities of what I can do. And so yeah, it's been more exploring of the restaurants and the hotels and things that don't necessarily require, attraction lines, which has been good in its own right because I'm a rides girl through and through. I will be on those rides, no questions asked, but it's been a cool way for me to kind of, make something great of the situation and say, okay, well, now I have time to explore other aspects, and then makes it special when I'm with someone else and I can get in line for that ride.
Yeah, yeah. We, in the special needs, there's special needs forums and Facebook groups and things out there, and we're on those. And when Disney made that shift in the recent past in their DAS qualifications, there was a lot of panic. You know,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
panicked.
yeah, and folks like you are sadly some of the ones who fell through, and
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever reason they chose to tighten and move. Whatever they have their reasons. But um, I'm hearing how you've made lemonade out of it, or at least how you've
I
how
definitely
you're
try
talking about
to, yes.
is yeah, it's got to be tough. It's tough, but I'm heartened by hearing things like that. So, um, it's about time for us to wrap up. Sadly, I feel like I have many more questions to ask you, but we'll have to just do this again sometime. Um, uh, what I try and ask everyone who comes on the show is what I like to think the show is about is how people navigate use creativity to navigate challenging times. What does that mean to you? How does creativity help you get through stuff?
Well, that has certainly been the name of the game this year. This year, my family has experienced such a whirlwind of things being thrown completely upside down, and all of a sudden, every day is kind of a question of, is everything still okay? Am I going to get a phone call that something has changed? I don't really know. And so, for a while at the beginning of the year, I was very much struggling to even be creative because I felt like every ounce of my energy was either going towards work or just the mental energy of trying to keep it together to get through, the day. And there are plenty of days still like that. But once I've started to find a little bit more of a balance between bringing back that creativity, doing the show recently that I did was such a great way to be around so many creative people and be in a creative space and kind of fill me up in a different way. So it was kind of a trade-off, right? Like I was using energy that maybe I didn't fully have yet, but then I got some of that energy back by being in that space. And when it comes to writing, I've tried, again, I was kicking myself earlier this year. You said you were going to finish the book and you're not working on it. Why aren't you doing this? And I still struggle with that. I still struggle with that a lot of like not giving myself grace. But I have told myself, hey, do you want to write something else? Do you want to write like some, then do it. If you want to write a little something else just for fun, do it. And that's been very helpful for me too, kind of letting go of these constraints that I've only put on myself. It's only me. I'm the only person who's put that constraint on. But I'm very hard on myself, and I'm very much like I hold myself to a very high standard, even if I'm doing something for fun. I'm like, no, I want to have fun doing it, and I want to make the most of doing it. So it's been a very good lesson to learn this year, and I think it's a lesson that is going to help me a lot in the future. It has not been fun to learn. It has not at all been fun,
Mm.
but it's been very necessary. There's been a lot of character growth this year that wasn't fun, but necessary. Which is just like when you read it in a book and you go, wow, this really sucks for them right now, but they're going to be better for it in about 50 pages. And then they are. But I feel like that's been my biggest lesson this year is learning how to give myself grace in order to allow that creativity to come back in and allow it to come back into my life in whatever way it chooses to take shape, even if it wasn't exactly how I initially pictured it.
All right. Well, thank you for all the creative work you do. And we want more of it. We want to see it.
I have
Um,
so much fun doing it.
awesome, awesome. Well, JP, actress, writer, filmmaker, soon Chris Kringle casting director. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We'll talk to you soon.